Hello, friends, and welcome to SteakDora the Explorers, or whatever you feel like calling us. This is the REL 1 and 2A div review week 2. Actually, we were compared to Bert and Ernie on a stream earlier.
Whose stream?
Metal stream. Metal was streaming earlier, and I was popped in while I was at work, and then they called us Bert and Ernie. And I was like, but which one's Bert and which one's Ernie? I'm like, which one is the happy-go-lucky and which one is the grumpy Oh, wait, that's really easy.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, Bert. Shall we get right into this?
You mean yeah. We're good.
Yeah.
So quickly, I know that REL and Cheese are playing. I have not looked at it in game. I do not know what this. I think REL is going to win. I bought a lot of stocks in him.
I also think REL is going to win.
So we're going to just note that ahead of time because they're about to finish, I think.
Oh, fair enough.
I'm probably going to be disappointed based on what I just saw Cheese type.
This is week 2, so we're going to take a look at the teams rather than looking at games. We like to look at the teams. We like to see how the teams are progressing, but we don't like looking at them every week because it turns out that tends to be pretty boring as people don't often level up very often, especially when their TVs are pretty high, like in between weeks. Sometimes you lose players.
Did you post last week, by the way? Did I just miss it?
Yep, I posted it in the recap channel, a link to the news article, because there's like news.rebel.net/recaps, and there's links to all the recap stuff there. Anyway, we are going to look at Div 1 stuff. Boop.
Start with the last week's schedule?
Yeah.
Is that what we normally do?
I think so. Fogmire Fenbeasts versus the... Oh, we need to get up the predictions and stuff so we know that...
I got them right here.
Oh, well then normally I look them up, but I guess you can do that. You can do the
I predicted the Lizards win. You predicted the Dark Elves would win, and the Dark Elves won.
Nice.
You're the winner.
I'm a winner.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Hello,
oh, wait, no, I predicted the Dark Elves. Never mind, I got that wrong.
Oh, shit. I'm a loser. Oh, disappointing. I was excited for a second.
Disappointed? Yeah, no, the Dark Elves.
1-0. 4 armor rakes, 18
It's
armor
worth
rakes.
noting, the Bad Apples got the shit kicked out of them.
They sure
as we
did.
predicted would happen, they just happened to win while getting the shit kicked out of them.
4 casualties, 7 KOs sustained. There's a lot of like blodge step on that team, so let's hope that none of that was anybody important getting hurt seriously. But like, what, 48 blocks? There's a boatload of frenzy and stuff.
19,
like,
yeah.
I'm not surprised that there were this many blocks and there were this many casualties. I just sort of expected it to go a bit more, and then the Wizards will be able to take advantage of it, but it looks like the Dark Elves just kind of held off the Lizards. Maybe the casualties came late, and then the Dark Elves
had
snuck in
garbage
armor,
somewhere. Like less than 50%, which, you know, would be bad for an armor 7 team, let alone an armor 8 team. Their dodges were pretty okay. Their injuries were bad, but not terrible. Their KO wake-ups were great.
Dauntless was on point.
They failed 50% of their GFIs, though.
They made 5 Dauntless rolls.
No, they did.
Who the hell has Dauntless?
One of the Blitzers, I imagine, or one of the Witch Elves.
They attempted it 5 times, and it worked I mean, it's going to be a 2+ most
Lizards,
of the time.
You know, so
it's going to be a 2+ most of the time, or all the time, unless you're hitting the Crocs.
Yep. So
Anyway.
that was a fun. Fear and Bloating and Thick and Rich and Creamy. We predicted the Nurgle would win, and it was a tie.
Oh, well.
Boring, but we can't predict ties.
That's true.
Fear and Bloating
got the MVP.
Yeah, and Fear and Bloating did punch the crap out of Thick, Rich, and Creamy.
Which we expected. 63 blocks, yeah.
Nurgle really outmuscle Necro most of the time. So.
6 KOs, 2 casualties sustained. Oh, I watched a little bit of this game, actually. They were playing it during the Cripple Cup. And I remember being like, why are they doing this instead of having fun playing the Cripple Cup?
I was in Vermont, I think. That was last weekend, right?
The
weekend before? I was in Nova Scotia? No. I think I was in Vermont.
During the Cripple Cup? I think you're in Vermont. It was the Saturday after you were in... You were probably on the way back, maybe? It was the Saturday that just happened, like the 24th.
Yeah, I was in Vermont.
Okay. It was a good time. I made it to the losers finals by dicing the crap out of a bunch of people with goblins. And then the dice ran out when I ran into a Wood Elves and lost 4-0.
Who brings Wood Elves to the Cripple Cup?
I know, right?
No fun.
Surge. People with their no funds.
Teams. God. What do I have in the Cripple Cup? I had some team.
Chaos, I think?
I thought that was my Chaos Cup team.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
I think my Cripple Cup team... No, my huge Jackman Cup team was Khemri. I don't know if I've ever played the Cripple Cup actually. I've got a Khemri team that I want to bring back to the huge Jackman Cup. I just haven't.
I have a Strength 1 Pogo from the first Cripple Cup that I did, and I put him on the line all evening just to try to kill that Strength 1 Pogo. One, because Pogos kind of suck on Goblin teams. They're mostly just bloat. So I don't really want one. But I have to take one because of the Cripple Cup building rules. And then he got Strength busted, so he's Strength 1. I was just desperately trying to get him killed, and he would not die.
It's really funny.
Oh boy, yeah. I've also got... Oh, I had a Movement 3 troll, but he's gone now, sadly, because I done fucked up. I didn't... I was tipsy and didn't read the rules when he leveled and got a double, and was like, cool, pro, because he already had block. And I had forgotten that pro was a banned thing because of rerolls. So I fired him, yeah, and bought a new troll, which was sad, but, you know, it's my own fault. Anyway, we're doing something else.
It looks like both teams had pretty terrible armor. They just kind of armor broke at each other.
Seems that way. And when they have similar armor, and one team has regen, or more regen, I guess, and one team has more armor.
Well, they got about the same amount of regen. I mean, actually...
5 versus...
Necro have more?
I guess, but that's true, but the Necro one...
100% regen, other than ghouls.
Are zombies. Which... Regen on more positionals. But more armor and better punchy skills, potentially, and more blocks made, like similar armor.
Yeah, the Nurgle just outmuscle the Necro, and foul appearance can be incredibly annoying when you're dealing with Frenzy. It's a 70% chance to trigger it on one of the blocks.
70?
Or sorry, a 30% chance to trigger it. Two pluses.
It's two pluses.
Chance. Yeah, so 70% chance to succeed.
To succeed,
i.e., 30% chance that you trigger it at some point. Though, if you trigger it the first time, of course, the second block doesn't happen, so that's not really...
Diving Tackle is a fake skill, failing 3 times, by the way.
No, failing Diving Tackle
means it worked every time. I hate the dice log. This dice log is dumb, and it's stupid, and everything is wrong about it. I'm going to look at a different team.
Alright, fair enough.
I hate the dice log. Charlestown
Chiefs.
That was
a null results for us.
Not an anime.
And then we had High Elves versus Lizards. We predicted the High Elves would win, and they did.
Boom. 44 blocks, 31 blocks. The High Elves getting a surprising number of punches
High Elves
in return.
can be really punchy. You know, they've got a lot of strength. I mean, they're all strength 3. They don't have the strength 2 positionals that a lot of elves have. They're fast, but therefore really good at hunting down skinks.
But High Elves maintaining the same casualty level as Lizards is pretty surprising. They both sustain 2 casualties. Well, I guess skinks are a thing.
The thing about turn 1 Beast Kaz... turn 1 Beast Kaz and regen that's a huge deal, obviously. I'm heading into a game where whoever gets on offense first is going to have a really good time because it's Chorfs versus my Chaos. Oh no, that is Diving Tackle being a fake skill? Alright, then I was wrong and Ben was right.
Oh, good. So it does work the way I want it to. Excellent.
That's pretty funny.
The elves only having the ball for not very long, but 2 passes, 2 catches, 2 touchdowns. Hey, elves, surprise.
Yeah, great distribution of SPP. He got 17 SPP and none of it was on the same piece. He got all the different Kaz and touchdowns were on different pieces. So
that was a really good game for ArchXL, it seems.
Yeah, totally. There was 1 chainsaw roll, so that tells me that ArchXL immediately killed it.
Or it killed itself.
He tried to beat it twice and he failed.
That would have worked.
Looks like things went pretty okay for ArchXL. He got decent armor rolls. A little bad, but there's some Mighty Blow floating around. He had great dodges, which of course, if you never fail dodges in GFIs.
His block dice are hilarious. 2 pows.
That is pretty funny.
Skink hunting with 2 pows. Well, I mean, there's probably a lot of tackle, but that's really funny.
And then we have you versus Cheese. We predicted you would win for some reason, and you did for some reason.
Because I dice Cheese every time we play him.
Yeah, pretty much.
First half, Cheese had the ball first. He was in a relatively good position, I think, kind of a strong base. And then I got I just kept armor breaking his Black Orcs and got a lot of stuns. And a couple of really crucial stuns that made his forward progression basically impossible because of a couple stuns that popped through. And then second half, I did the thing where you walk slowly up the field and eventually score. Like, it was a pretty boring game after, turn 6 or so.
Your beast was real dumb, though.
Oh god, he was so stupid. He was really stupid. Like, I think 6 of 8 turns on the first half.
Really stupid 8 of 14 over the entire game. He was really stupid more often than he was not.
Yep, it was bad. That was really unlucky. I did get really good. One hit on Baby Swiss. Baby Swiss was like I was trying to stall sort of in the I was in a position where I couldn't stall super safely, but I really wanted to. So it was kind of like a slightly risky stall. It wasn't like perfectly safe. It wasn't incredibly dangerous either. And he sent Baby Swiss after it. And then so that gave me a 3 die with Mighty Blow Tackle piling on against a double niggled goblin, and I was like, oh my god, you're dying right now. And then he got KO'd, and that was sad. I didn't get to kill Baby Swiss.
Did you pile on the KO?
No.
Why not?
I don't remember if I did or not, actually. I probably didn't, because that's silly.
It's not silly. I would pile on that KO every time.
Yeah, the really stupid was really unfortunate. But oh well. There was a couple really good like foul appearances. There's a couple really good stuns for me, which made his forward progression pretty hard.
His armor was garbage, even given Claw, probably. So rough game for Cheese, but it was always going to be.
Although to be fair, like his team is broken. There's a lot of like niggles, and there's a lot of armor. Like there's some armor busts and stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't like. It doesn't seem like it was actually that much of a dicing. It was like you did well, and you probably got some luck when you needed it. But
yeah, it was mostly just there were like 2 turns with a couple of really good stuns. And that made it, they weren't even removals. It was just, you don't get to go forward now because I stunned these guys. And then
stuns are a big problem on Black Orcs because of their low movement, it effectively removes them from the game for 3 turns. So
yeah, it's basically what
happened. You
get
a stun on turn 14 or turn like 6, that player is done. Like by the time that player stands up again, they're going to be irrelevant for the rest of the match.
Yeah, I don't remember it exactly because it was a bit ago, but it was like, I think turn 5, turn 6 maybe, and I got like, between those 2 turns, I got like 2-ish Black Orc stuns that basically...
You talk about your game every week, like way too goddamn much, because you remember.
Because I remember what was in my own game.
Yes.
Scooby and the Gang and Conspiration Entropique. Conspiration.
There you go. Except that's not how the Quebecois would say it, but it's fine.
How would the Quebecois say it?
I can't do the Quebecois accent.
But you live in Quebec.
I know, but I learned, like, because of the Canadian school system being fucked, I learned what is effectively Parisian French.
Yeah, and I know the feeling, yeah. Which is the...
So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we learned Parisian French. Most people that speak French in Nova Scotia don't even really speak French. They speak, like, the Acadian version of French. And then Quebecois French is also incredibly different from both of those. So it's great. I don't even remember if Tessa is Quebecois, though.
I thought he was, because he's friends with Chav in real life. And
then probably. That would make sense. Anyway, 2-2. What did we predict here?
We predicted that...
the Necro? Scooby and the Gang?
Yeah, we predicted Necro would win, and I had a bunch of stocks in Scooby and the Gang. But because Scooby's stock is Travel Scrabble's stock is so bloated, he lost a ton of money for me just by tying Tessa, because Tessa was the underdog. Tessa beat the shit out of him.
Yes, 62 blocks to 22. Scooby and the Gang sustaining 7 casualties and 6 KOs, and somehow still scoring twice and tying it.
Apparently the tie came from like a sub 10% play, basically, like a YOLO'd and like got really lucky.
I see. Well,
yeah,
would have been interesting.
It didn't cause any damage though, from what I remember. Like Scooby and the Gang like had terrible armor and just like kept getting Kaz, and the region was just like average, but there was no perms or no relevant perms. So
the Minotaur got 11 SPP that game.
Yeah, well, it is a Claw Mighty Blow block Minotaur
that got MVP. So we got 3 injuries and an MVP that game. He's also Agi 1, but I mean, who cares? Then we have Archangel's Will and the Greenskin Brawlers, another Quebecois team, and Professor Chaos. 2-2, 3 deaths for Archangel.
Archangel got the shit kicked out of him, yeah. He lost his second best War Dancer and some Linos, I think. I don't think he lost anything too crazy. They were like developed Linos, but...
Had this already been played? Because I don't see a prediction for it.
I have a prediction. We predicted wait. Yeah, we predicted Archangel would win over the...
Oh, I don't have one in the YouTube description. So apparently I didn't copy that. Oh, yes, I do. It says Arch versus Orc, and in my mind that was Arch Excel, not
I wrote
Archangel. Okay, anyway, that should have been Archangel, not Arch.
The level 4 thrower died. That's a big deal. Never mind. So yeah, we predicted that the Wood Elves would win, and they did not. But they got tied, so it's just a null.
I mean, they did tie despite sustaining 3 deaths and 8... There's 3 casualties and 3 deaths, so every casualty was just a death. There's no half measures with Professor Chaos. Dead or nothing. Because, yeah, 3 deaths, 8 KOs. Like, so not very many players available for Archangel. I think he kept most of his really good players, but he may have lost somebody important there, I think.
All right, we won't talk about the cheese game because he wants us to watch it next week, and I will honor that request. But yeah.
Okay. What do you mean we won't talk about it?
We won't talk about the result because we would spoil it.
Oh, the one that already happened.
The one that just finished.
Yeah, I see. I thought you were talking about the one played with me, and I was like...
Oh, I guess we're going to see it when we flip over there anyway. So, and it won't be up next week because the replay will literally expire while we're doing it.
If we can watch it if G sends us the replay.
It's fair. Whatever.
But that'll need to be done. It'll get spoiled here. But Archangel tying that. MVP going to a loner lineman, unfortunately, and he probably didn't get bought. I don't think so.
No.
I thought it was lost the whole time. Managed to tie 2-2. I mean, Wood Elves. There you go.
Yep.
And that's what I'm worried about, right? Like, look at this, a 2-2 tie. The Orcs not only managed to score twice, which is, relatively average or sometimes hard for bash teams, and they completely pitch removed the Wood Elves, and the Wood Elves scored twice and tied anyway. And that's why I'm terrified for my gaming against Archangel. Like, I don't think I'm going to win that. Ragedorf and the Rowdy Rebel Rousers, I believe we had predicted the Nurgle, and they tied.
Yep, so not a lot of points to be had.
Well, there are a lot of ties. A lot of ties, which I'm kind of okay with, because it keeps me up in the standings, because I have a win. 13 armor breaks, 16 armor breaks, 48 blocks, 45 blocks, like very even, just in terms of removals. Rowdy Rebel Rousers did sustain a death, but like even blocks, even removals, even like ball possession. This just looked like a typical bash versus bash
Foul
game.
Appearance worked. Dauntless worked 10 out of 10 times. Looks like the dwarfs had pretty decent armor, or pretty decent rolls, rather.
They would need to, considering there's about 5 dwarfs on that team.
Yeah, they made 81% of their dodges as dwarves, which seems a little unfair.
Looks like a pretty typical sort of bash versus bash matchup, though, where like while you're on offense, you just beat the crap at the other team and then score, and then they're on offense and beat the crap out of you and then score, and then you tie. Pretty impressive that Ragedorf did that to the Rowdy Rebel Rousers, despite having about 5 dwarves. Although they would have gotten a boatload of inducements.
Yeah, Sir Kodak, that works as long as we start the recap at the same time. Like, as long as we started the replay, it would be fine, because as soon as you're watching it, it downloads locally. But if we, were a bit later starting or whatever, we wouldn't be able to watch.
Yeah, we've had that before, where if we try to watch a replay of a game that's played early, it'll already be expired from the servers, and we can't go into it.
Yeah, it's exactly a week as far as I understand it. So anyway,
do you mean if we watched it now on our own times, it would get saved and we could just keep it?
Oh, that's probably a good plan for moving forward.
Yeah,
I'm gonna just click on.
Yeah, we should do that. We just click on it and it should load it. It's a good idea.
We can do it after the stream. Anyway, let's look at the teams.
Yeah,
Cheese's team, fresh off of a game. Has a level on Undock Games, but the Thick Skull Troll is still alive, so I refuse to talk about this team.
The Thick Skull procced 3 times in my gaming against Cheese.
I don't want to hear it.
It stopped that troll from getting removed 3 times.
I really want someone to trigger it so that it's a stun, and then no assist foul it to death. I will pay someone an untold sum if they do exactly that.
Oh, let's set a bounty for it.
It's too specific, I think, for the bounty board.
Baby Swiss still exists, is not dead, is double niggled, but is Baby Swiss. We all know Baby Swiss, Sprint, Pro, Strip Ball.
Has Catch now? I think Catch is new, isn't it?
He had it when I played him.
Oh, okay.
That's just for 1 turns when you throw him. have the reroll for handing the ball off, and then sprint, sure feet, and pro for like the landing. He's basically a one-turning goblin, but also has strip ball for some reason. And there's the thrower, who's is almost leveled. He's got all the normal skills. The orcs, maybe not fend is the only normal skill that the thrower doesn't have that he'd be okay with. Aren't many other normals that he would really care about. Unfortunately, Sharp Cheddar is just a black orc, but that's still alright. He has gotten that recently. And Mars Capone is just guard, but he's an MVP away from getting block, which is handy. Until then, we've got the other two black orcs that have got the like full package basically. However, one is movement 3 and the other one is niggled, which is a theme with this team.
It does have 5. I mean, it's a pretty good orc team. It's got 5 guard. It's got a ton of Mighty Blow piling on. It's got a good amount of Mighty Blow. It's got a suite of block.
It's got good players, but all those injured, like it's a double niggled goblin, a double niggled blitzer, a niggled black orc, another niggled blitzer. Like it's so easy for this team to crumple. As long as it doesn't crumple, it does really well. But it's pretty easy for people to like target all those niggles and like try to make it crumple a little bit. But it does well as long as that doesn't happen. But that's a big weakness it does have. True.
And I don't like the leader. The leader on the thrower seems weird. He's sitting at 3 rerolls still. I think I talked about on orc throwers, leader is strange because you always sit the orc thrower when it's not offense because the orc thrower is garbage. And there's no reason to have one, basically. Like, if it had an agi up or some kind of stat up that made it a more relevant player, then maybe. But, like, carrying an extra AV8 Lino is not really a meaningful choice to make when you're, like, limited on the number of players you can bring onto the pitch on defense.
It's common in tabletop, and, he has 3 SPP to another level, so if he gets that, and then it's, like, an agi or something, definitely worth keeping. But if that level isn't, like, a stat, I would just fire him and get a new one.
Agreed. So, yeah.
But he's close to it, so you might as well see.
Yeah, and then we have ArchXL, not an anime sports team, fresh off a game with a result that we're not talking about. Looks like he got a level on his catcher. I don't think he sustained any deaths. I'm gonna look at the game because they can't see my screen.
Still
he did
not
sustain a death, but I don't know what it was.
There's the one really good blitzer and the one less good blitzer because he's more new, but still not Megaloblocks exists. We're all aware.
The death was on a 0 SPP lineup. So
who cares? And then we have the thrower, who's got the movement 7. That's really fast for a thrower, but he has plus movement, I suppose. Strong arm, block. I mean, he'll want like agi or maybe more passing skills, but he has picked up the hard one in the strong arm double, which is kind of cool. We have the makings of another long bong silver potentially.
Pretty long-lived thrower for RTXL, really. Level 4, come on.
Blodge step catcher. I don't even know what you take there.
Diving tackle, double for guard would be great, of course. He's got 2 Mighty Blow catchers. I don't like the second Mighty Blow catcher. I feel like this should be guard. This team is lacking. Oh, it doesn't. Never mind. It has Initiate Ozianus, which I just didn't notice. But, more guard, more better. It's not always true that more Mighty Blow, more better for elves because you're not really getting based up that aggressively usually. So,
and that's true, cheese, but it is a pretty significant amount of TV and a lot that you're not using a lot of the time. No, I mean, like, because you could drop a reroll, which is more than 20.
Oh, yes. But then you have to field him, so it's like a question of whether or not you think that's worth it. So, like, you're slightly crippling your defense, and, if that player gets removed, you only have 2 rerolls, but it would save you, what, 60k for Orcs? I think Orc
rerolls are kind of cheap.
120, yeah, so it's 60k. It's not trivial. Like, you'd net 40 with that exchange.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe it's worth it if you... Like, you keep them for now, and then if you're about to go up against elves or they get a wizard, you just drop a reroll, and then suddenly you still have 3 rerolls. Now they don't get a wizard anymore.
Yeah, and I mean, if you dub skull turn 1, you just reroll it because you're a developed orc team, and the number of things you have to reroll are exactly dub skulls and failed dodges, which you should not be making very often.
And the movement catchers it's a little weird, the Mighty Blow and movement, but like movement 9 is hard to turn down, and Mighty Blow is a little hard to turn down, but I think I would have preferred guard there as well.
Yeah, I mean, it makes Edhel a little awkward because obviously Edhel is your natural one-turner now. Not actual natural, but like is another movement away from being a natural one-turner and is currently a 1 push I don't know, 2 push, I guess, because you don't sprint yet. But
saving 40
now you're
TV
gonna,
matters when you give an alpha wizard with it.
Yes. I mean, it can. It can always matter. Like, some games it will, some games it won't. It's not like that's not a very solid argument. Ed Hell could win. I don't know how you build him. Like, I'm kind of curious what RTXL wants to do with that player, because he's kind of in a weird place right now.
Yeah, I mean, pray for another movement and then have a natural 1-turner with Mighty Blow for some reason.
Yeah.
I mean, or you could just take tackle and have like a crazy like blitzy threat, but you'd also want to get block, and you have that with like Megalo blocks and Kaijo. So I don't know. It's weird. It's one of those things, like he got the double and then was like, oh cool, I'll take a Mighty Blow. So I have one, and then he rolled movement, and you're like, ah fuck, what do I do now?
Yeah, I mean, you obviously have to take the movement. Anyway, I think you build him into a 1-turner.
I think so too. You take the movement, you run with it.
And maybe you field them on offense on the line for like an extra Mighty Blow hit if it like you think it'll be relevant. Like you're not, you're playing against something that's AV7, but obviously that's risky because you're exposing an AV7 1-turner to counter blitz. But yeah, anyway,
Jimmy Burrito.
It's a good team. It's got cool stuff. Jimmy Burrito's 1960 Necro team. Have a free babe, sir. Exactly. Also, just like for very limited value, like the number of times a developed orc team will run through 3 rerolls in a half, unless they're like aggressively greed rerolling things, is like it's pretty low. Sure, you get greed rerolls, but you got to kind of factor in whether or not that's actually going to be worth it. And then if you need to do important stuff later, you've been greeding things, so maybe you're out of rerolls. I don't know. It's not my thing. But if it works for you,
if it works for you, it works for you, and people have different play styles certainly, but it's not a thing that I would do.
El Padrecito is still a beast at Claw Palm Jump Up.
Absolutely.
The perfect killer wolf. Paris Stilton Jr. Refuses to roll piling on for the second double.
He will get niggled, though, sadly.
He is niggled, yeah. Not really a big deal. Like, Jump Up is still like a pretty good skill on wolves. They're super fast.
Yeah, that's true. Could allow you to get a few extra blocks after you like pile on or whatever, and you don't stun or something. When a guy stands up, you might have like a free jump up hit on something. But it does save you some movement certainly. But jump up without piling on the wolves is a little sad. But you know, we all know why it was taken, is to tempt the gods of fate to giving you doubles. I mean, he was immediately rewarded with a double. He just hasn't gotten the second one yet. We've got, there are 2 flesh golems. One of them is good, one of them is not. But
yeah, I bet he really wished that probably not Provolone got that MVP and not Havarti Makes You Farty.
Yeah, then he would have had another block.
Flesh golem is it's such a liability until it is blocked, and I mean reasonably useless until it gets guard. At least in this div. But other than that, I mean, like he's got the movement up, Blotch Step Ghoul, which is really nice. It's an extra movement
with Fend too.
To keep up. Yeah, with Fend too. So extra.
He's a really good ball carrier. All he wants is more stats. Like if you get strength or agi, that'd be incredible.
Yep. The movement busted, agi busted white is a bit unfortunate, especially because he has dodge. But I mean, he's blodge, stand firm, guard, mighty blow. So he's still a pretty good piece.
He's a good pillar, and yeah, the movement doesn't really make that. And yeah, that dodge isn't. He just uses that dodge to not get shifted around now and keep guard places rather than actually dodge. And if you have to dodge, well, at least that 50% is a 75%. I'm a big fan of Count Market the Unfair.
3 matches, 0 SPP.
I just like the name. I like the name.
Still has 4 guard, not bad, especially considering he's dropped 2 recently in the loss of a white and a flesh golem, so he's got these nice zombies to kind of fill out that.
Yeah, the 2 guard zombies was
so
really
his
handy.
Guard is not very. He's only got really 1 semi-mobile. Well, I mean, I guess Havarti Makes You Farty dodges just as well as Melty Monterey Jack, so he doesn't really have any easily relocated guard. So he is like kind of, once he commits to a space, he is committed, barring some risky rolls. So,
but he can potato pretty hard with that ghoul and get away from a lot of teams that the guard is going to be relevant for. And the teams that the guard isn't relevant for, then it doesn't really matter so much.
Yeah, between wolves and the white, they can move, or the wolves and the ghoul rather, they can move a lot of distance. So it's quite a good Necro team. It's just like a kind of in a weird space right now.
Needs a dirty player.
Quagmire Fenbeasts have played their game this week, and I know for a fact that Professor Chaos kicked the shit out of them and killed some players.
Well, there seem to be fewer players than there were before.
Yep. So Puff died. Francis Drake, the Street Sharks original, died and then appoed into Niggle, and I believe Rolling Red said that he blamed Francis for Puff's death, so he fired Francis as well.
I like how he fired Francis Drake, but didn't fire the movement busted, armor busted, plus armor Saurus.
Yeah, I mean, Thulek has done nothing wrong, you know? So yeah, this team only has 2 Frenzy now after losing half of its Frenzy.
Yeah, 2 Frenzy down in one game. It's a lot less Frenzy. A lot less scary.
Anyway, still not that bad. It does have a developed Croxagore. It's got, 4 developed Saurus with like a lot of guard. Once you Frenzy in, the guard is kind of nice for like having those developed pieces there. He is going to be going into next game with a Rookie Saurus, and then the game after that with an extra Rookie Saurus. So going to be tough, certainly, because those like Rookie Saurus just suck so hard in developed divisions. They just don't really do anything. They're just there to get hit. So it can be really hard to build them back up, but if you can, I mean, the team's in a decent spot. It's got a good ball carrying skink. It's still got like a good swath of guard and support Saurus. So it's not totally bad, but of course that was a very rough game for him.
Great stat lines, but it turns out you kind of want block and or guard in more developed divisions.
Which is why I like the clan building rules that let me start with full developed Saurus, other than one which only has block. Fear and Bloating, the 2080. I know exactly. It's like, oh, the Saurus only starts with block. Boo-hoo. Fear and Bloating, the 2080 Nurgle team, has Yaza the Great, which is not Yaza of Mucus, which is a better
Yaza.
Beast, but still, not a bad one. At break, tackle, guard, stand firm.
Those are the sort of 3 skills you care about on the Beast of Nurgle. You really hope you get block next. If not, you don't really have any other skills that matter, like maybe grab, I guess, but it's not that important. No, Nurgle Warrior Complement looks pretty good. It's all of the stuff you want on Nurgle Warriors, some combination of block, claw, mighty blow, and guard, with a smattering of like tackle or dodge if you happen to roll it or get it in there. So the Nurgle Warriors look great. The armor 8 is a little unfortunate, and the movement 3 is a little unfortunate, but you keep those around. They're so hard to develop.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate because Morbid is a long way away from Stand Firm at Legend, but, he's still a pretty good player in the meantime.
The problem with that, Holes, though, is that, like, sometimes you like, a lot of the time you want to follow to put him on more people, or if he's already on people, you don't want to block because the 1 in 6 really stupid, and then suddenly you've just freed up everybody. So, like, it's good. It's not a bad skill, but it's not by any means as useful as the other strength skills. Like, the diminishing returns have hit pretty hard by the time you're grabbing grab.
Good sentence.
The Pestigores, we've got the great ball carrying one with the fake Agi 4. There's the like ubiquitous Agi 4 strength 5, or strength 4, strength 5 on the blitz.
He's taken 2 heads recently, so now he dodges on Agi 5. So that's incredible ridiculous. Cage dive threat. Yeah,
that is ridiculous. That's a dumb elf. Like, strength 5 on the blitz with wrestle tackle, like 3+ cage dives, right?
Yes, yeah, so it's a 3+. It's a 3+ cage dive. 3+ cage dive into a natural 1 die on a strength 3 ball carrier if both corners have guard. Yep. So not bad.
Not bad at all.
Gishmogor is no joke. The movement 6 is a problem. As anyone who's played like elves will tell you, the issue is not often like the ability to get a 2 die on the ball for a 3+. It's the movement you will have to get there, or the movement you will have afterwards.
Yeah, it turns out that if the cage is 7 squares away, your great 2+, 3+ cage diver is just not going to do it with 6 squares of movement. Yeah, Holes. I also enjoy hitting stuff with big Mighty Blow players. It's very entertaining, but it's just like, I think it's just the diminishing returns hits pretty hard at that point.
I only like the Croxagore because he bites people in the face. Though the Minotaur is like pull back smash hit, like just feels like it causes casualties way more often than any other animation. Every time I see that go off, or the big like horn one, I'm just like, all right, that player is dead.
Yeah, and the Beast of Nurgle one isn't really that great. He just kind of goes like and like flobbles forward.
Yeah, the Croxagore punches or bites. The Mino and the Kroxigor are my favorite animations. Though the Chaos Warrior drop kick is pretty outstanding because you're like, oh yeah, this big warrior of chaos. Then he's like, I do flips and shit. Kicks in the chest.
Yeah. I like the goblin armor break one where they do the like flying uppercut.
Yeah, or the when they roll at them.
Oh yes.
The skink one is fun too.
The rolling,
because they they catch their helmet on their tongue afterwards. Because it like goes flying off.
And then some rotters. Yeah, I mean the rotters.
Sorry, we definitely got distracted, but yeah, it's a totally great Nurgle team. It's got 5 guard. It's got a bunch of claw mighty blow. It's got like a good amount of tackle. It's actually kind of got everything.
It basically has everything you want.
It is done. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Brashgore is frenzy and then stand firm and then it's done. Like this, it's pretty much it. Like this team is as everything you want without being too greedy. Charlestown Chiefs.
Yeah, it's lacking some Juggernaut, but you could get Juggernaut on. Anyway, it's fine. Yeah, you're lacking like a wrestle elf killer, but that's really it.
Charlestown Chiefs. Some more lizards. Also a rookie source, unfortunately, but not 2 rookie source.
Though the source are less developed than Rolling Reds on average.
That's certainly that's certainly true. There's a lot of guard and block and mighty blow and break tackle for that matter.
He's picked up a Bloxigor, which is nice.
Boxigor.
Bloxigors are great, as Kroxigors are debatably one of the best big guys. And
Beast of Nurgle.
Yeah, I mean, most people err on the Beast of Nurgle side. I really like the Kroxigor because the Kroxigor does... I mean, the Beast of Nurgle is the same thing, right? It's a really great piece, but also it just matches exactly what the team wants to do, which is be annoying and in the way.
Yeah.
Dave Killer Carlson is movement busted, unfortunately. Makes his sprint sure feet a bit more awkward, but you don't throw away an Agi 4. Chaos Mino equals Beast is less than...
Bloodthirster is best big guy.
You think the Chaos Mino is as good as the Beast of Nurgle, you insane person?
The Bloodthirster is the best big guy. But
yes, but he doesn't exist, Ben.
Yeah, I know.
Also, he just makes it so that he is your team, because you don't blitz with anyone else.
Yeah, and if you take him to start, you can only afford linemen. It's like, he's so expensive. Your 1,000 TV team is the big guy and 10 linemen.
I do like Dennis Lemieux still being around, or that's not how you spell that, but that's fine. Has a one-turner, not quite a natural one-turner, but a strength 1/1 that he has to field because he only has 10 players. So he's just putting a strength 1 skink out there because it's his natural one, or nearly natural one-turn.
The vowels in that name are quite literally backwards. Is it not IEUX and not UEIX?
Yeah, it's IEUX.
Yeah.
For Lemieux.
They're backwards. Oh well, but yeah, he has to field him, which is kind of unfortunate because he's such a big target and very easy to get 3 dies on. But there are 2
you just get a 3 die. There's no ease. You just have one unless you're strength 2.
Yeah, if Skink or a Goblin hits him, it's not a 3 die.
Yeah, lots of goblins in Div 1. I mean, I guess there is actually a goblin in Div 1, so I should shut up. But...
and other skinks. And then the Agi one is great, but yeah, the movement bust is unfortunate. But like sprint sure feet makes up for it a bit, but he's just not the like one turning potential threat anymore with sidestep. So you're gonna have to rely on the movement 9 one, which is how terrible. Problem is he's a big target with him being on the field all the time. And then me, I mean, I don't know.
I'll really... talk about you. Shut up.
Okay.
Your beast is dumb. It should have guard. Well, that's okay, I guess. You've got 2 guard, that is several too few.
Yep.
You have 4 claw mighty blow, that is more than you... I mean, I guess that's how you cheesed, but if you don't get removals, your guard game is weak, son. If
I don't get removals, I lose the game, yeah. And it turns out all of my guard players died, and Nurgle Warriors are really hard to level up. So, like...
Hearing our excuses.
The second guard is very new, because... He only very recently got that. And Nido Kidney Disease is terrible because he's double niggled. So he gets removed very easily. But I just can't afford to get rid of 1 of 2 guard on the team. Like
no, absolutely.
Once Hepatitis Beedrill levels and gets guard, and then Victory Bell gets like block. So I have like block guard, block claw, mighty blow guard, and a block.
Why do you have Alexander the Not Great still here with the movement bust? I guess he's line fodder.
Because for my previous game against Cheese, Lightning or Killer Kowalski and Why Do I Keep Buying Rotters were both MNG'd, so I needed a rotter to put on the line, basically.
Fair. I mean, it's a decent team. It's got like some stuff. It's got a good amount of kill. It's got a wrestle tackle guy. I mean, that's something.
The two heads is also new on the ball carrier.
Yeah, I see that. I mean, like that's like a standard pickup.
It was either two heads or extra arms. But no, like it's fine. It's just like one bad game away from no longer existing, right? Because they're like two.
Lightning Dwarf is the best one. I like all the Unseen Walker Pokemon.
They're just all over the place. Yeah. Lightning Dwarf has been on the team for a while. Actually, he's got a number. He's got 21 matches on this team. He's been around. Unfortunately, Why Do I Keep Buying Rotters and Alexander the Not Great are not Pokemon, if I recall correctly. Why Do I Keep Buying Rotters is because I kept buying Rotters because they kept dying. And Alexander the Not Great, I think, is because I had Alexander the Greaterer from that Norse team, and then he died, and I needed another Rotter, so I replaced him with Alexander the Not Great. But Killer Kowalski,
I mean, you had Streaks for a while.
I did, yeah.
Streaks?
Yeah,
he died a long time ago, and then you replaced him with Dr. Bob MD or something like that, wasn't it? Or
I went through like 4 different rotters that were various plays off of Dr. Robert, because it was like Dr. Robert, and then Dr. Robert died, so I went like, you know, Professor Bob, and then he died, and then I was like Robert MD, and then he died. It's all just sort of plays on that, and none of them ever really worked.
Yeah. Anyway, your team is
It's one bad game away from like not existing, but it is also recovering. Like the Nurgle there's 3 Niggled players, and they're like my only good players. So if I lose them, I'm in really bad shape. But
yep.
Scooby
the gang, Travel Scrabble and his annoyingly ordered team. Mm-hmm. He disappointed me this week by losing me a bunch of stock money, and ArchXL just did the same. Spoilers. But that's all right. I'm only here to lose. Imagine.
God, put your players in order. Jesus.
No, he does it just to fuck with you at this point, so there's no point commenting. Just off of a tough game versus the Chaos, but you wouldn't know it given his, you know, unmurdered team. Both Wolves still kicking around, both Whites still kicking around, both Flesh Golems still totally fine. I mean, yeah, this is a disgusting team. Like, it's only 1970 with a...
Yep.
With a 12, is this a 12-man bench? 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
I'm not
11,
counting.
12,
I'm not putting the mental effort into trying to unscramble this team.
So 13-man bench, so two bench rather, at 1970 TV with like this many stats kicking around. It's totally great. It's got basically no guard. I mean, it's only got 3 guard, I guess, which isn't bad for Necro, but it doesn't need it as much because it has a bunch of strength ups and like just absurd agi game. For some reason, like Muttley 3 can just do elf things, and can be backed up by, you know, all of the other players that have strength or edgy up for some reason. Like the average player value on this team is stupid.
Yep.
They're either zombie or they're like a 200k monster.
Yep, you either get really good or garbage. Nothing in between. I looked it up, by the way. I had Streaks, and he got movement busted and niggled with 1 injury because decay. So I fired him and bought Totally Still Streaks, who got killed.
Right, because I was like, if you let Streaks die, I'm going to bounty your entire team.
Yeah, so I fired him and then bought Totally Still Streaks, who then died, and then he fired, and then I named another one, Maybe Streaks Will Work, and he also died.
My Pokemon are cursed.
Yeah,
as cursed as my lizards were. They just like disintegrated at the end of that season.
There was Robert PhD died.
I was about to make playoffs.
Robert MD died. There is Uneducated Bob, also dies.
Jesus, you just keep killing routers, son.
Look at my injury page. Death, move and bust, death, move and bust, death, move and bust, armor bust, death. Like, there's like 20 deaths from this team. A lot of them are rotters, but there's a lot of deaths.
Stop rolling 6s, son. All right, Archangel's Will. 1180. 1180 Wood Elves with 5 players.
But it's the good players. He's got...
It's the players that are the team. It's Savari, Hugh, Catches Unseen, Adrastia, Ironskin, the meme.
and another catcher,
and a random catcher that we don't care about.
Like,
really, has one player too many, if you ask me.
There's a separation here that's very clear. There are 3 players at the top that this team is, and then there are 2 players that are nice to have. But like, as long as these 3 players
have to keep Iron Skin the AV busted treatment at this point. That's just memes, right? Like, anyway.
I mean, these players exist. I mean, Adrastea is a strength mighty blow tackle word answer, and there's also the like wrestle tackle leap threat. So it turns out with being able to remove other elves because strength mighty blow tackle, and then when you're playing against bash teams, you have leap tackle wrestle and a leap agi 5 to recover and run away with. Like, you just win. It's, as long as he who catches unseen and Savari exist, this team
this is going to do well. It's always going to get a wizard in Div 1. It's always going to probably get the sideliner. So, you know, it's got a shot because it's a wood elf team, but man, is it a weird shot.
Man. And he goes up against me. He goes up against me this week. So one of 2 things are going to happen. Either, like, I only win games by removing players right now, and there are 5 players on this team. So either I'm not going to get removals, and he's going to annihilate me like 3-0 or something stupid, or I'm going to retire his team. Like, there are 2 options. Either this team will not exist next week, or it's going to beat me 3-0.
I will say, the last time I looked at Ragedorf's team, I think he had 1 or 2 guard, and now he has 5. Kudos.
He has more players than he did before. There were like 5 dwarfs, and now there are like 10
He's got a decently dwarfy amount of guard now.
All the players are just bloat. Yeah, exactly.
You only need loners.
Loners, Savari, and he who catches unseen. That's all you need.
Furious Dwarf is has picked up guard. I think that's new.
Yeah, and he's already
Hell's
got
Gate,
piling on Juggernaut, Stand Firm, and Mighty Blow. Like, yeah, might as well.
Hell's Gate, the movement, blodge, agi up, sidestep, Hail Mary pass.
That's my favorite, because Hail Mary pass was the last skill, like the legend skill. What does this player need to be done? Hail Mary. But yeah, it wasn't his choice, because that's very clearly a market piece, but that's so funny.
It is so funny. It's also niggled, which is unfortunate, but yeah, all right. Sidestep is also a weird call. Second double on a runner, I would probably either skip or maybe even take like guard or some meme like that. I guess
with sidestep and the frenzy from the Troll Slayer, like 1 turns are actually pretty reasonable.
Yeah, movement 7 frenzy. It's not impossible.
Movement 7 sidestep and frenzy. Actually,
yeah, the sidestep helps a little bit, but it's not really that big of a. It basically just means you need fewer players. It doesn't actually make the. I mean, it does make the pushes easier, but not like a lot easier.
And it turns out when half of your players are movement 4, not having to get them into position to do 1 turns makes, actually does quite a bit. Because they don't have a whole lot of movement options.
Yep. Anyway, it's a better looking dwarf team than it was last time I looked at it, certainly.
The strength guard alt dwarf is going to be a pretty key piece to this as long as he stays alive, I think.
I like Swift Dwarf, the extra Dauntless runner, so he's like the sacker that hits strength 4 ball carriers.
Yeah, it's great.
1 die.
Yeah, but he's like the defensive runner.
Yep. I mean, it's a decent dwarf team if you were in Div 4. I mean, he's pulling out results, so I can't actually.
No, Shadorra's just going to argue that like Stand Firm is better than Sidestep, and since it's not, especially since it's not a double,
it is a double for runners. Runners don't have strength.
Oh, right. So I guess it doesn't matter in this case.
So it's not bad. It's just I don't know what I would have taken there. I'd have to like think about it.
I would have taken Sidestep.
Not good at dwarfing. So
I think it's really good there.
I would have taken Leap. I mean, you are edgy for, but no, I wouldn't take that. Anyway,
Rebel Rousers. These used to be like 2,200, and now they're like 1960.
They lost a big piece there. Oh yeah, they lost a Nurgle warrior.
Yep, down to a Lord Farquaad is the rookie Nurgle warrior, who is going to be. There's such a pain to level up when all your other Nurgle warriors already have block, because you're gonna want to block with them first. It's just a Black Orc problem. It really sucks, but you know you got to do it because they're sort of important.
Oh no, right? He lost. Oh, so he wasn't the last game then, because his last game was against Unseen Walker, and Ornan Water Closet died.
Ornan Water Closet is gone.
The Mighty Blow, Block, Claw, minus movement piece. I don't see a Nurgle warrior dying here, so it must have been
that game or two ago.
We haven't checked them in.
He's played one match, so it would have been 2.
Oh, he played against Keys and he lost Horny Necro Cricket, which is a big one. That was the Block, Tentacles, Guard, Tackle piece.
But the other ones that exist are great. I mean, Luminous is strength 5 tentacle. He's a beast of Nurgle. Horny Cricket is the standard sort of Nurgle warrior progression. The Sage is exactly what you want in a beast of Nurgle. Guard block. He would also like stand firm.
But he now doesn't have a killer Pestigore, so all of his killer pieces are the movement 4 pieces.
That is true. He does want a killer Pestigore, and he'll probably try to level one up.
Yeah, Ornn Water Closet was a big loss for sure. And also, he lost one of his support Nurgle warriors, so now he only has 3 guard. One of them is a strength 5. Well, 2 of them are strength 5 technically because of Sage.
Yeah, he's only got 3 Pestigores right now. Unfortunately, his team is really high, so he's going to be a while before he can afford another one, because A, they're expensive, and B, spiraling expenses are going to eat a lot of your money for a bit. But yeah, you'll get another Pestigore and you'll level him up into a killer. I mean, you'll start with block in case somebody else dies, because then they can fill in basically any role. But as long as nobody else dies, you just grab like Mighty Blow Claw and start going down that route.
Yep. So yeah, it's not bad, but yeah, definitely those were big losses.
That's what I said on Scene Walker. Makes dwarf 1 turns. That's what I said.
Are they like a minute behind? Because the chat does seem like it's lagging a bit.
They might be. I don't know. I'm not dropping any frames, but there might be some. It's probably a Twitch thing.
Yeah, Twitch's end. So and yeah, then we have Green Screen Brawlers, who are fresh up. I think they won a really good game here.
The Black Orcs are great. Ooh, strength. The Black Orcs are in a great position.
That's not new. That's Frank's been there for a while.
No, but they're great. Like block guard, block guard, block guard, block guard. Perfect.
Oh, right. You just like smash rolling red this week, right? That was the whole.
And the blitzers are great. The thrower is okay. I mean, he's on the verge of legend, but man, the fact that the thrower is okay and he's on the verge of legend really like hits home what orc throwers are.
Yeah, I mean, you should just. I mean, I wouldn't replace him, I guess, because he's blodge, but other than that, he's pretty.
Yeah, he's a blodge ball carrier. I mean, you just keep him. The other thing you would have to do is carry on a blitzer, and I guess you could carry on Mark Nast pretty easily, but he's also a good blitzer, and you don't really want to do that with the ball.
He's great for having around on a variety of levels.
And none of the other blitzers can carry right now. So yeah,
it's a 7 guard team now that he's got guard on Breakheads and Rachni. So yeah, I mean, like this team is looking amazing.
Yeah, I would be terrified to play this. It's just guard spam orcs are so hard to deal with when they're like moved together, and Professor Chaos does the wall of green pretty well.
Yeah.
Tessa. I'm not going to try. I'm going to fail it again.
Pythagore has a level.
Pythagore.
Probably going to be, knowing Tessa, probably stand firm.
Stand firm or tackle?
Maybe tackle. Probably tackle, actually. He's got 3 already. He probably doesn't need tackle.
No, but it's less about having tackle to guarantee knockdowns and more to guarantee removals, because that's a Mighty Blow Claw block guy, and it really sucks to like get that stumbles on a dodge piece with like one of your few Mighty Blow hits. So that's why you take tackle. The other thing is he's guard, so stand firm is great. If they try to push the guard away, you stand firm and then you just get clawed back afterwards. I think either is totally fine, and it's just sort of up to what you feel like you want, but I think both are good choices. The other Chaos Warriors are good. I mean, Einstein is good, and the other one, De Broily too, is armor busted, which sucks, but he is a blodge firm guard, which is such a nice pillar. Schrodinger, yeah, armor busted is sad, but block guard is also good, and they're hard to level, so.
Yeah, so this team is like a lot less unfair than most of the Nurgle teams in this division, but it still looks pretty good. It's got 5 guard, it's got a bunch, or 6 guard rather. It's got a bunch of, it's got a good amount of kill. It's got like some sacking possibilities in Boar, because he's got
Killer Beastman,
dodges, and he's
Sacker Beastman, Ball Carrier Beastman, a Mino with tentacles, which is kind of cool. So he's like a Beast of Nurgle now. One that doesn't actually lose his tackle zones if you try to block with him, which is kind of nice.
But also one they can't reposition very easily. But yeah.
But once you get him on players, you're not afraid to take those Claw Mighty Blow hits, because it's even if you wild animals, it doesn't matter. They're still on tentacles.
Exactly. So he's very unlikely to turn over, and he's like in the frenzy actually helps him position into like tougher positions too. I mean, it's a really good chaos.
Yeah,
and then we have A-Grain to round things out.
There was some I thought there was some damage done to this team this week.
There was an Agi bust on a Raj lineman, which is probably his death.
Yeah, probably, unfortunately. But man, look at this. Look how much. Oh, it's the witch that has Dauntless, by the way, as we see here. Just look at this. Blodge, Raj, Blodge sidestep tackle, Blodge sidestep, Blodge sidestep, Raj, dodge guard. It's just
a total
oh my god. This is like actually one of the most annoying teams in the world. It'd be so frustrating to punch these guys and just watch them like sidestep around and never fall over. It's, Amazon's on crack.
I'll be right back.
It's like it's pretty unfortunate. I mean, dwarves might have an okay time with all the tackle that's lying around, but like with all the sidestep, like that's also a problem. And there's just so much of it, and you know, an agi piece on an elf team is always terrifying. It also has 2 guard, which makes it even more terrifying against bash teams, because you can't just push your guys forward because they're going to be able to block them in return with the guard. You can't really keep them as safe. The Dauntless piece also helps deal with bash teams. Can help with surfing pretty well. Like you can, your strength 4 guy isn't safe on the sideline just because he's strength 4. We still have a, you know, a 2+1 die to surf. God, it's terrifying. I do not want to play this team either, but I have to at some point. We can look at the leaderboard real quick. Although unfortunately, Ragedorf, Charlestown Chiefs, Greenskid Brawlers, Fogmire Fang Beasts, Cheese Tactics Mark II, and not an anime sports team have already played a game, so this isn't the most good look at the leaderboard. But we have Agrain out in first still, who hasn't played this week with 2 wins. ArchExcel has played. Travel Scrabble has not played and is up there along with Professor Chaos, Archangel's Will, Tessa, Atomex, and myself. There's a lot of 1-1 ties in this this set, but a lot of these games haven't played yet, so this is going to, or some of these, I'm thinking about that backwards. Some of these games have already played, namely this one. So next week, this is all likely to shuffle around quite a bit depending on who wins here, right? Because Archangel is playing me, so one of us is probably going to go up. So there's a lot of shaking up that can happen there, certainly. Unfortunately, Fogmire Fenbeast's not doing super well so far. Neither is Steer. The Lizards are sort of sitting at the bottom. But there's still a lot of movement that can happen here. Right now, Agrain and ArchExcel look like they're running away with things, but there's many weeks to go. So we have to do predictions, but Shadorra is gone, so I don't really know how to progress from here. Scooby and the gang and the Bad Apples. I guess I'll make my prediction. Man, I feel like I have to go with Agrain there, honestly. Like, whereas Travel Scrabble, it's a great team, but there's 1 tackle against that nonsense of a Dark Elf team. 2 tackles, sorry. There's 2 tackle, but one of them is on the Agi 5 Werewolf, who's probably going to have the ball at least a good portion of the time on offense. Maybe the Ghoul would have it. No, there is 2 tackle.
This is a weird game because traditionally Necro are very good against elves, but I know for a fact that Travel Scrabble is very bad against elves.
Where's the 3rd tackle? Oh, there it is. I missed it on Top Cat. Oh, that helps. There are 3 tackle.
Did I sell Travel Scrabble stock? I don't remember. I did not, so I'm going to have to vote for Travel Scrabble. No, I kind of, I don't know. I think Agrain might have it.
I'm gonna go with Agrain.
Does he get a wizard?
Yes.
1880.
If he spends 30k, he gets one, which he probably would.
Yeah, I mean, to beat the div leader last time, I think you probably can.
Although Scooby and the gang is gonna drop 30, so you'd have to spend, or can drop 30, so you'd have to spend 60k.
That's less worth it. It's Dark Elves, you can always lose a positional, and they're very expensive.
Yeah, I just think the nature of the, like, it's just every piece on the Dark Elf team is useful, and Travel Scrabble, like we said before, is like there are some great pieces and then zombies. So if the great pieces don't do great things, it's going to be hard for them to keep up with all of the good players on the Elf team, I think. So I'm gonna go with Agrain.
To keep things spicy, I'll stick with the Necro.
Archangel's Will versus me. I predict Archangel. He has like 5.
I also predict Archangel.
He's good against Nurgle. I'm bad against elves. He's going to get a boatload of inducements. either I get removals or I lose are the only options here.
He's probably going to use his inducements to get a bench too. So
yeah, it's I have to remove important players or I lose the game is the only way that this works for me. So we have to pray for good removal dice, and that's not really a winning position.
Next game is big. It's a Nurgle off between the two really big Nurgle.
Yeah.
So Fear and Bloating has like a basically perfect Nurgle team, and Atomex has a really solid Nurgle team too. I mean, he's down some players, and this is going to be a big one. He's got less guard, and
I think one of the things that's going to make a really big difference here. Oh wait, no, they both don't have a Killer Pestigore, do they?
No, but Fear and the Red Joker has 4 Claw Mighty Blow warriors, where I don't think Atomex is.
I was going to say the like a Killer Pestigore is going to make a difference here, but neither of them have one. 4 Claw Mighty Blow versus 2 Claw Mighty Blow. They both have crazy sackers. It'll be fun to watch. I kind of want to see this.
One team is just going to Kaz the other off the field, probably. Like, it's going to come down to who has better regen and Kaz dice. But I think most of the time it goes...
Red Joker.
Fear and Bloating.
It's just, you know, more... In a mirror match, it's pretty easy to predict the team that has more of the stuff that they're going to want to use against the other team. And then we have Tessa and Thick Rich and Creamy, Jimmy Burrito. So we have the Chaos, and we have the Necro. 2 Werewolf Necro. I have no idea. I honestly have no idea. Not a clue.
It's normally a pretty good matchup for Chaos. These Nurgle do have these Necro do have a decent amount of guard. So the thing that's a problem for the Chaos is obviously regen versus no regen, but developed Chaos usually have a lot more kill than Necro do. Necro can only have 2 real Claw Mighty Blow killers, of course. They have to rely on things like Dirty Player, which Jimmy Burrito does not have because they keep dying, and like just on the fact that their positionals are more varied and like have like speed and stuff like that.
And Minotaur is actually going to be pretty useful here as well. I think if you can get tentacles onto some important places. I think...
and he's got more guard. He's got more kill. He's got a good amount of like tackle. I think I like the Chaos.
I think this could very easily be a coin flip. Like, I'm going to go with you and say Chaos, but I think it's like 60-40 Chaos or like 55-45 Chaos. Like, it's super easy for this to go either way. If I could predict a tie, I mean, probably... Nah, I wouldn't predict a tie because I think one of the teams is going to win. But, like, you know what I mean. I think it's so easy that either one of these teams can win that it's, like, pretty much impossible to predict well. It's going to be a close one. That took a long time. Let's go to Div 2.
Did it ever? I'm going to have to duck out early, probably. But I'll leave things in your sturdy hands.
Well, you're going to have to do predictions, right, before you go.
Yes, so maybe we'll do predictions before we do teams.
That seems good. First of all, we had the Greenie Weenies versus the Rebel Cheese Thieves. We both predicted that this had already played.
This one had already been played.
26
the Orcs
armor
got
breaks.
26 armor breaks, and the Rats got 2, so the Orcs won.
Yeah, 7 casualties and 7 KO sustained, so the Rats just exploded and vanished from the pitch, and then the Orcs kind of did whatever they wanted. Yeah, Contract Killers and the Luis Juano. I'm trying, folks. 1-1.
We figured the Nurgle would win, and it was a tie. So
the Nurgle got way more blocks than the Contract Killers did.
They got way more removals, so they just couldn't turn it into a win, which is some classic chaos or Nurgle.
Classic Nurgle stuff. It's probably very likely, I imagine, that the Nurgle went second, and then it was already 1-0, and then on their drive they just absolutely beat the other team into submission and then scored. But it's too late for them to turn over and do anything else. But they did get a boatload of SPP out of that, it looks like.
Let's see. Cheese gained 62 stock value by beating ArchXL there. Where's ArchXL? How much did you
Spoilers.
lose? Shit. Oh, whatever. It was already up on the page. I'm cussing him out. I cuss out the people. Yeah, he lost. Yeah, of course, it's a zero-sum game. He loses 62 as well. Whatever. I'm not salty. Fell with Codadol. 4-1s, the Dark Elves. You predicted the oh no. Yeah, you predicted the High Elves to win, and I predicted the Dark Elves, so that goes to you.
Well, I win. Too bad touchdown differential doesn't make a difference here, because that would have been a lot of extra points. But no, the High Elves certainly won.
They certainly won. This High Elf team either wins or it dies. So that's
yeah,
kind of...
I mean, it looks like it was similar number of blocks, like similar number of removals, but it turns out one turner can do stuff. I imagine is a thing that happened here.
Yeah, I mean, Dark Elves can struggle against real elf teams because real elf teams can do true elf bullshit, and Dark Elves can't really do true elf bullshit.
They can do some elf bullshit,
They're
but
like
they can't do.
They're bullshit adjacent.
Yeah,
but they can't do like the truly filthy things like one turns.
They have Agi 4, but they're quite a bit slower than the other elf teams, which makes a big difference for some true nonsense.
Truth.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, a loss for the Dark Elves there.
There was a lightning bolt that worked out.
BioWare for life versus the Forsaken Awoken. We predicted the... Oh, it already
happened.
Because the Vampire team keeps playing before we do our recap, so we can never watch their games because they hate fun.
No, it's he just loves playing. Like, he tries to schedule his games immediately. He's like, "Do you want to play today?" As soon as they roll over, and like, "Yep, okay, here we go."
Anyway,
like Dire Sick Fish just wants to play his games immediately, and like, I mean, sure, but
Eager Beaver, he is here. Do you hear me? You're a monster. I wanted to watch that. I really, really wanted to watch that. The rats versus
similar number of possession values, more block for the Forsaken Awoken.
Looks like the Vamps did get pretty seriously punched here.
4 casualties, including a death.
They sustained 9. So just classic Vamp things. Maybe didn't have the bench they're used to having, and then just got like removed pretty hard. Bloodlust was average, but they rolled 58 Bloodlust, which is, you know, at that point it just starts to add up, and you start losing players.
Yeah.
Hypnotic Gaze worked pretty well. Their armor was bad, but not terrible. Yeah, I mean, it looks like it just was a Vamp game that went long, and long Vamp games that you're not winning, you lose.
Yeah, attrition is a thing.
Don't handle attrition well.
Can you hear me?
And then the Undead had, or the Necro, I don't know.
You cannot hear me, can you?
Had really great armor.
The stream can hear me.
They made a bunch of Dauntless
rolls.
But
you can't hear me.
But it probably didn't matter. They made a bunch of leaps. Is this... Oh, this is the Necro team with the Leap Werewolf.
I'm super confused.
Did some cool shit. Made all pickups. Didn't do very well in dodges, but, like, you know, certainly got enough in the removal game to put the Vamps on the back foot. 1-2-0. Yeah, we did not predict that one. The next up is Necro... Or no. Necro versus Dark Elves.
Hello? Hello?
Where the hell is the Necro versus Dark... Oh, I'm looking at them. Next up is Chorf versus Nurgle. We predicted the Nurgle would win. And they did! Is your mic not working, Ben?
It's working in chat. I'm pretty sure.
I can hear you on the stream, but I can't hear you on Discord, so I'm going to end the call. I'll be right back.
Yeah, that's what I assumed. Hello?
Hi.
Yeah, that was really funny because I was responding to you, and then you just kept going, and I was like, "What?" I'm like, "You can't hear me, can you?" And then like, but then I was like, "But let me look at my my stream." Yeah, yeah, they can hear me. I'm going through there, but you can't hear me, and I was just talking over you while you like rambled about stuff for a while. It's gonna be really funny on the video. Just saying.
Excellent. Don't cut it out.
Where were we?
I was moving on to Abysmal Cusp versus Rebel Rage Quit.
1-0. I mean, unsurprising. 28 armor breaks, 5 casualties sustained, including 2 deaths, 4 KOs, but they won anyway. That's what happens when you play against Arabi, because he doesn't try to pick up the ball. You win, but take damage for it.
He did Arabi things, but you won the game.
And I assume that's exactly what we predicted.
Yes.
Yeah, we predicted the Nurgle. Then we had Grungy Desserts and the Hornstars. In eliminating my elf advantage that I gained earlier, you predicted the Nurgle and I predicted the Chaos, and the Chaos lost this one. Grungy Desserts taking it 2-1. I don't remember why.
Despite losing the armor break game. Wait, what? They only got 4 armor breaks and 3 of them were Kaz, but the Hornstars were like crushing them.
7 casualties sustained. 7 casualties sustained for the grungy desserts, but they won 2-1. They must have been late game casualties
the
that didn't matter.
Stars had 72% armor.
The only thing I can think of is that all those casualties happened after it was already over. But like, that seems ridiculous that many casualties weren't a win.
For 100% regen certainly helps.
Now that's true. So some of those casualties definitely came back. So they never really were super down players, considering 4 of them returned. So really it's like 3 removals, if you want to put it that way. Although they were removed for some portion of the drive, certainly. But they got some of them back, which is going to help out in that big removal game. And then the Battle Brothers and the Lackland Longtongues. What did we say here? We said Brett's. And Brett's... I believe Cleric was like kind of nervous about this one. He was like, I don't know. And then we're like, nah, I think Cleric's got it. And then he won. So there you go. He did sustain a death. This has been like a violent week. Like a lot of deaths in both 1 and 2A. 4 casualties, 1 of them a death. 4 casualties sustained for the lizards as well. But the Bretts are pretty good skink hunters, so I'm not too surprised by that.
There, yeah.
Although with 4, that could have made the game pretty difficult for the lizards if those were all skinks, and I suppose that may explain a bit of the 2-1 scoreline. Yeah.
That looks like an interesting game. It went down pretty much. It looks like it went down exactly as we thought, which is that the Bretts managed to 2-1 grind out the lizards with some like ashy nonsense, probably because they're good at that. And the lizards had trouble keeping maybe their skinks safe.
So there are 2 games that have played this week, so we can't predict those, but we'll look at the leaderboard. So keep in mind that there are 4 teams here that have played an extra game over other ones. But Stouticus is got, since he has played that one, he is going to be at the top, along with the teams that have played more than one are at the top, surprise, or played their game this week are at the top, surprise. But we also have Holes with 2 wins. The Nurgle, Necro, and the other Nurgle team all contending for that as well, having not played this week with 1 and 1. Then further down, unfortunately, we've got some no-win teams, even although some of them have played their game this week. And both Arabi and Urs not doing the greatest right now, but they have their game to play this week as well. And plenty of time to come back, certainly. We're barely into the season. 10 weeks to go. But yeah, it looks like an early favorite is certainly Stouticus, and Not for Science and Holes. So let's do some predictions. Battle Brothers versus Rebel Rage Quit. The not Arabi team. That's what I predict. I mean, the Battle Brothers are probably going to get pumped. Well, actually, it depends. If they already have like no players, then
I think the Battle Brothers are fine.
Then it might be different, but yeah, they're fine.
Yeah, he's totally fine. I think it's probably
they're going to get punched, but they're going to score, and Arabi probably won't because it's Arabi. Then we have the Lackland Longtongues versus Bioware for Life. Oh, this will be cool. They haven't actually played. I want to see this too now. It's
maybe we'll watch that game next week.
Yeah, because it's our 2 it's a vamp, the vampire and the lizards that are both sort of near the bottom
because they like their strength 4 pieces are just like toe to toe with Saurus, not one man killing machines like they normally are. So one man just like bullshit machines.
But they can kind of do some nonsense against skinks, certainly, right? Even if there is like a guard Saurus. If there are like 2 guard Saurus nearby, like to form a sort of cage corner, if you can hypnogaze one of them, then you can still 2-die the ball. Which is pretty cool. Urs followed. Thanks, welcome along. It should be interesting. Like I really want to see this. It could be hard.
Strength up Vamps, so it's not it's not nothing.
That's
it's like
true.
half an hour.
Oh
so
damn!
Both the teams we want to watch next week are considering playing.
Oh, that's fine. Just remember to like queue up the replay afterwards so that we can have it in the bank. I don't know. That's really difficult. It'll be certainly really fun. I mean, like, common sense says to sort of go lizards, right? But the strength up vampires are pretty serious.
It is worth noting the Vamps are at 1960 and the lizards are at 1570, but so they get 2 more, so it's 1630, 1690, so 1690 to 1960, so they get 270k. That's Slibley or a wizard.
What's Slibley? 220?
250.
250. Oh, okay. Yeah, so Slibly. I mean, Slibly makes a difference, certainly. Stand Firm, another high strength piece to contend with the vampires. And with all that strength lying around, it should be pretty easy to just like crunch through thralls. And as vampires lose thralls, they become more dependent on positioning. If Urs can be careful and pay attention to where the thralls are and know that Dire Sickfish isn't going to want to move to where there aren't thralls, then you can tie up a lot of thralls with Saurus.
And the big thing with Vamps is they don't have the movement to keep up with Skinks. So, like, if you can, like, get past them, you can just run away, because the Vamps can't actually do it.
Although, I think this is probably a pretty good one for the Vampires, because they're going to have it... If the ball is on a Skink, which it probably will be, the Vampires have a pretty easy time getting after it with Hypnogaze and the strength they have. I want to go Vampires, because I think it's fun.
I'm gonna go Lizards.
Lizards?
No, I'm gonna go Vamps. It's close.
It is pretty close. We've got Sir Kodiak with the Abysmal Cup, and we have the Contract Killers, which are Bernie Buffin's Chaos Dwarves. The Chaos Dwarves are missing 2 blockers, including a guard one, which is gonna end a guard Hobgoblin, which is a really big deal against a Nurgle team. I feel like this has just got to be Nurgle for me. The Nurgle are going to outguard the Chaos Dwarves, and since they also outstrength them, that's not really in a position the Chaos Dwarves want to be in.
Yeah, that's a pretty easy win, usually for Nurgle, especially if they have the regen and the foul appearance.
The Chaos Dwarves are going to get a decent number of inducements, but like there aren't great inducements for Chaos Dwarves. Like a Thark is really expensive. A Wizard is a thing, but they don't really have a great way of recovering. Like they have a ball carrying Hobgoblin, it seems, rather than a Bull Centaur, and he's out. They only actually have 2 Hobos and then a bunch of loners. I think this is gonna, even though there are inducements, certainly I think this is going to be really difficult for Bernie.
Yep. And then we have another 7-guard Orc team.
Greeny Weenies.
A good amount of Mighty Blow to go with it. Not actually that much kill. Only 2 Mighty Blow. One of them is bomb.
That's holes.
Very controlling Orc team versus Moneybags' Necro, which have a lot less guard than that. So this is going to come down to... Oh, and they have no... Right, so they're like the Agi Wolves without any claw... Or Mighty Blow, rather. So, like, their kill game is pretty much non-existent versus this team. They've got 4
guards. They're going to be like a weird elf team against this, as it were, like pretty relying on the speed and stuff.
Yeah, and because the Orcs are just going to base the shit out of you because they can with impunity, effectively.
Yeah,
it's
one
really
guard and no strength.
But we are going to see that the werewolves are going to be the ones to watch here because they're going to be the ones going after the ball. Yeah,
the werewolves are going to grab the ball and they're going to run away and they're going to try to do that. Although we have a movement 7 blitzer to sort of keep up with that a little bit. It's not quite keeping up with it, but like he has pretty good safety option there. And if the Orcs are just going to slam into stuff and have that guard line, it's going to be really hard for them.
They're going to be careful to keep guard on their cage corners so that the leaping wolf can't get into the ball. But yeah, this is probably the Orcs game.
Yeah, I feel like it's the Orcs as well, but it's not like... If Holes isn't careful, he can lose this pretty easily because of the werewolves doing werewolf speed things that he then can't catch up to. So as long as Holes is careful, I think he has this, but it's his, like, it's very easy for Moneybags to exploit mistakes that Holes makes. And
Holes also only has 2 tackle, and only one of them is on his fastest piece, which is nice at movement 7. But like, he's basically got to make sure that Cuddy Chris reading is hard. Cuddy Chris has got to be safe and like capable of smacking wolves if they decide to potato, because there's a lot of really good potato options from Moneybags. His ghoul is movement busted, which is nice, but it's still,
Cutie Chris.
IG4, so
it's cutie.
Is it not cut? No, whatever. Isn't cutie IE?
Yeah, it is, but Holes spelt it wrong.
All right. Whatever.
Yeah, I think Holes on average probably has this, but it's pretty easy for Moneybags to exploit a mistake and like do a potato, like you said. in order to grab touchdowns and stuff. So it's definitely possible for him to win. But I think if Holes plays the game perfectly, he should win most of the time. So I'm gonna pick the Orcs. And we have Welcome to the Dark Side, and the name that I'm never gonna say correctly. It's Luis Suano's team, Arquipa Nurgler's REBBL.
Yes, those guys. Dark Elves versus Nurgle usually favors the Dark Elves.
Yeah. Although the Dark Elves are probably the most. If I had to pick an elf team to play against as Nurgle, I'd probably pick Dark Elves.
Later on, yes. Early on, they're impossible, but later on,
Well, now that we have development, which we do everywhere.
So these are speedier Dark Elves, remember? These are the movement 9 and 8 pieces.
Like, if you told me right now, pick an elf team to play, I would probably pick Dark Elves. Similar to your TV.
Because the claw actually does something.
The claw does something, and they're less. The biggest problem is not that they're elves where they are agi 4. The biggest problem is the movement 8, movement 7 players. You just pick up the ball and leave, and then you can't do anything.
Haven't you looked at these Dark Elves?
I have not. I'm about to. Right, it's Queen Elizabeth's Dark Elves. Oof.
They're cheating. So there's still 2 block claw mighty blow tackle warriors, and there's of course the killer warrior and Garamulgors, but so there is 3 tackle, which is nice because he's going to need it, versus Queen Elizabeth, the Dark Elves, which have a ton of dodge. There's still enough dodge that 3 tackle is probably not going to be enough to get every piece off if you need it.
Yeah, normally I'd be all about the Nurgle in this situation, but because of what that team is, it's a lot harder. It's a lot harder.
Lewis doesn't give away a lot of inducements to these guys, which is nice. He's only giving 1840 plus a Rotter, which is 40k, so 1880, versus the Dark Elves, which have a level pending. And so they will get basically nothing.
I think that if the Dark Elves are careful, they should have this. The speed is the biggest thing the Nurgle are terrified of, and 2 of the 3 Nurgle tackle are on movement 4. So it's if they can just get past the Nurgle team, which isn't too hard to do. You can't cover the whole field very well, and even if you do, it's not terrible to blitz a hole in one spot.
You have to force a position where your Wrestle Leaper can jump in on a 1-die on the ball carrier, and then just because it's Wrestle Tackle, right? I think from Queen Elizabeth, which is perfect because strip ball would do nothing. So Freddy Krueger can get in on a 3+ and just make sure that you force the Nurgle to not have guard on their cage corners. That would make it so that it's a red die. And as long as you're getting a 1-die with Wrestle Tackle, it's a 4+. It's not that bad. And even pushing them out might push the Nurgle into kind of a tenuous position. I think, barring catastrophic removals, the Dark Elf should have this.
I agree.
That says catastrophic removals are kind of Lewis's thing. So,
no, I agree with you. I think it's certainly possible, but if I have to pick a team, which we do, that is the game after all. I pick the Dark Elves because the movement is the biggest thing that the Nurgle dislike, and there's just so much of that on Queen Elizabeth's team. So we've done the predictions. Now we can go look at the teams in a bit more detail, and we'll get as far as we can before you have to go, and then I will finish it up. Not for Science and Felwith's Kawada doll, they still exist. They're looking slightly less red because we've replaced a bunch of linemen with rookie ones. But there's still quite a bit of red. Both Blitzers are Agi 3, which is hilarious. But one of them doesn't matter with 3 doubles to get Mighty Blow piling on Juggernaut. What a stupid team. Oh my god. And then the other Blitzer is he's the defensive Blitzer. He's blodge, diving, tackle, sidestep to be more annoying rather than anything. Because the offense all relies on the thrower and the catcher. Thrower's got strong arm. There's the strength 5 frenzy catcher, and then the 1-turner of course exists. Doesn't really matter where he is as long as even if he's on the LOS, but a couple squares forward, and suddenly there's just less rolls for him, and you just give it to him and he goes and scores. These guys can score pretty much whenever they want, and there's almost nothing you can do to stop them other than kill that 1-turner. So they're really good, and it's just hard to do stuff to this. Double guard wrestle pieces. The wrestle first is a little unfortunate that he happened to get the guard on the wrestle piece rather than just being block or something. But another couple guard on this elf team when you already have Agi 5 and It lets you engage that piling on Mighty Blow Juggernaut jump up tackle blitzer a lot better when you have guard to support him. Is this these are elves? I don't understand.
They're dumb. You understand how they beat another elf team.
Do you understand how they beat any team? This is an elf team that's super good against beating other elf teams. Like this team annihilates elf teams. Like you've got guard, you've got like the sacker Mighty Blow piling on guy. You can score whenever you want to keep up with elf shootouts. It's silly. It's like it's so good against other elves. Dire Sickfish and his Vamps. They're 2 strength 5 vampires.
Yep. As we said, that's going to be a big deal against the lizards. He's also got 2 guard, which is nice. Guard on Vamps is a bit awkward because it does require you to activate them to move them into guard position, so that's extra bloodlust you have to roll. But he is,
if they're already in position, you don't have to.
The last game, not afraid to roll bloodlust. Roll 58.
And then even if you, it's kind of handy. Busted. If you fail like Hypnogaze, like if you run into Hypnogaze with one of the guard guys and it doesn't work, well, now you just have a guard guy on that dude and you can like blitz him or something instead, right? So like it's still it's kind of neat to have it on a vamp that you can utilize after Hypnogaze and stuff.
Yep, the edgy bust is a bit unfortunate on ball spawn too, but you probably don't ditch your palm tackle jump up piece.
Yeah, he doesn't need edgy. He just punches stuff. It's
a real solid. I mean, still 2+ on the jump up, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a real solid vamp team, really. Really good vampire development. Hawk is reasonably new, but vamps develop pretty quickly, so it's not too bad, really. They scored 2 touchdowns on him to get him blocked.
We're at the point where we're probably going to start seeing some pro pickups, like the Warden, Commander Shepard, and anybody but the only block guy pro as a next skill is probably pretty good. Because they've got the reliability things with block and dodge. You've got your pretty, like, you take stats because you need it. You don't not take plus strength. And then you got the killer one. And anybody else, just like pro, it would be really nice on most guys here. Save some bloodlust. You could probably even drop a reroll once you get another, like, 2 pros or so. Yeah, we've got the ball carry thrall / the... definitely can keep up with the vamps and dodge out if they really need to have a snack thrall.
Yeah, if you get some pro, thralls. I wouldn't hate dropping a reroll too. So yeah, that could be nice for trimming a bit of TV.
I'd like to see like 2 pro at least before he drops one. 1 is not enough, I don't think.
And then we have Arabi. Arabi's team has a theme. It's killing stuff.
Yep.
He actually took guard before piling on sometimes. To my great
guard helps you get more blocks.
It's true. And this team is really good at getting armor breaks. It fouls every turn. It's got dirty player, 2 of them to be exact. It's 1 claw palm. It's got 3 piling on mighty blow. No, it's got 5 piling on mighty blow. Who am I kidding? Including Orabi, the Orabi named after Orabi himself. So just needs a double for claw.
I think that's my favorite player. Is Orabi has a Chorf named Orabi.
Yeah, exactly. It's wonderful.
He needs to get claw like strength. Like I want him to be the most ludicrous killer we have ever seen, and just it to be named Orabi, because that just fits.
Agreed. Silly Tor is a brand new. Well, he's been there for 5 matches, but still hasn't leveled. And then we have Jackahole, the Agi AV busted, piling on mighty blow, block,
doesn't matter,
tackle, guard, he's doing a lot of things.
He's blocked mighty blow piling on, and then he's also break tackle to make sure he can get those block.
This team, it must be noted, wins as many games as it loses. So, for all we like to joke about betting against the team that isn't Arabi, he wins games about as often as he loses them, which for a new team,
on average. But if you he did not, he was near the bottom of the table in REL 2 last season, if I recall correctly. I'm gonna look that up real quick.
I believe you're right.
He finished 10th in REL 2B with a record of 4-3-6 last season. So yeah,
still promoted.
It's well, no, he's in 2 still. 2B and 2A are the same.
I know.
Yeah, so it's pretty even, right? It's either the removals work and then you can win games because of it, or the removals don't work and then your opponent picks up the ball and scores. So you're probably never going to get ahead of that even score too often, but he does, he wins as often as he loses, certainly. And it's when the removals are good, it works. Grungy Desserts and Stouticus. I think this is now the highest TV team in REBBL.
2360 with 0 cash.
Well, you're not going to get much cash when...
Hey, hit him, not me. It's that Rotter.
Yep.
That what used to be that Hobgoblin.
Was
he's already
Hobgoblin.
got an Agi bust. That's funny. Hit him, not me was that the ball carrying Hobgoblin.
Yep. Beast of Nurgle is a Beast of Nurgle. He's got the things you want. The Nurgle Warriors are sort of the same. Well, actually, there is the one who picked up Strength first and then got Block and Tentacles, which is exactly what he wants there. He's another Beast of Nurgle.
Unfortunately, he had a movement bust, which is a bit annoying.
Yeah, so in 20 SPP, gross, he'll get Stand Firm. It's going to take forever because he doesn't have Mighty Blow, but that's what you do, I think. And then the other two are the standard Nurgle, like, combination of Block Guard, Mighty Blow, Claw, Tackle in some form.
Donut in the Hole is great. A movement 8 frenzy piece.
Yeah, that's incredible. Along with Juggernaut as well to really shift those stand firms. Like, you can surf stand firm players. Yeah, that's super cool. And
this team is lacking a bit of guard. It's only got 3 that I can see.
Yep, it's surprisingly hard to get in. Like, despite a lot of players having strength access on Nurgle, you just can't afford to take it until like the 3rd level on a lot of players.
Yeah, so, as soon as you take a specialized Nurgle warrior and maybe lose one, you like suddenly are down guard or kill.
Yeah.
Like, and in this case, kind of both. He's got a good amount of kills. He's got 2 Claw Mighty Blow and 1 Claw Mighty Blow piling on in all apple pies.
Like, you just see like the Nurgle warriors will either take guard 2nd or they'll take it 5th. Right? It's just so hard to get it on a lot of the team because it turns out other skills are more important if you actually want to win games early on. The Pestigores, we have the pretty typical Sacker Pestigore, which we've talked about a million times, so we won't go into it again. There's a great ball carrying Pestigore. There's a good killer Pestigore. He's edgy too, but that doesn't really matter. And then Donut in the Hole is like your kind of the flex Pestigore that he has decided to make into a ridiculous frenzy piece with double plus movement. Two dirty players and 1 wrestle. It doesn't feel like it should be 2360, but there are a lot of stats. It seems, and a huge bench, I suppose. Like, if you dropped like 3 of those Rotters, it's like 22-20, which is still pretty high. But yeah, stats are a thing, I think. Choleric in the Battle Brothers. Hello? Am I coming through again?
Sorry.
Okay.
Internet cut out for a second.
I was just worried that I was not going through again. So we the one of the linemen is MNG, but that's okay. It's just a peasant. The blockers are getting there. We've got 2 that are guard stand firm. One of them also has dodge. Then there's 1 Mighty Blow, which is good to have helps against elf teams and stuff because it's your only strength access.
Is reasonably new at only 3 matches.
Yeah, so we'd like to see a guard on him just because the guard is pretty handy on this team, but you know, there's only so much you can do there. And the blitzers are great, as we've seen before. I mean, 3 Agi 4 blitzers make them so much more dangerous as the sort of speedy elf type nonsense team. They're movement 7 now and Agi 4 with Blodge Step, or you know, a lot of cases Blodge Step or just Blodge. Super annoying, so difficult to deal with, and really, really good for Cleric to just do elf nonsense. It's the Bretonnian thing where the blitzers are the team, and they are the team in a big way. Yeah, I mean, this team makes you want to play Bretts, and then you really play Bretts, and it's like, how do people play Bretts? This is weird. It's also hard.
They are really hard.
They're hard. It's like you get humans, but they're not humans, and you have to rely on your blitzers so much. And then if something bad happens to them, it can be a problem. But like, it's weird. It's weird. Then I've never played Bretts seriously. I've only played them in like 1 minute, where it's extra weird. But yeah, they're not an easy team. You kind of have to do weird. Like, I'm scoring way faster than I want to because I have the opportunity to score here. It can be really difficult to stall and stuff.
They're pretty good on defense because they've got a lot of annoying skills for that. But yeah.
They're like
fend, wrestle, Blodge Step, access. Like, they're an annoying team to play against. They're actually, I think, worse on offense than they are on defense. And
I agree. They're like elves in that way, but they're not like elfy enough. But the thing is, Choleric has made them elfy enough with triple Agi 4s. So like they're super. In this team in particular is the Agi is just so big on those blitzers because they want to be elves, and now they are. Urs and the Lackland Long Tongues. Feels like there are not enough players in this team.
Yep.
We have all the Saurus, but 2 of them are rookies, sadly. And one of them is movement 5, which is, like, it's not terrible, but it's kind of terrible when it's your break tackle guard guy. I mean, I guess you do have other guard. Peasant noises, yeah. Ha! Oh, 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 oh! Like, they're so weird. They're so weird. Where were we? Two rookie Saurus is really frustrating, especially when you're at 1540 and you're in that sort of like lizard sweet spot. But you should be in the lizard sweet spot with more block and guard than you have. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you to play against some of the punchier teams than you'd like it to be. Clawpeck is a pretty good Saurus with Blodge break tackle. Like, he's really reliable at dodging out, surprisingly, to be that safety player. And when he's not being a safety, he, like on offense, you can blitz with him pretty well. And then it's very easy to score when you want to with an Agi 4 sidestep, movement 8 sprint sure-feet jump up skink. The only issue is that you're just not going to have much of a bench against some of the really scary kill teams in this div. And that skink is going to be a really big target, and it might be a bit hard to protect him with 2 rookie Saurus lying around.
Yeah, it's a tough div to be rebuilding lizards in for sure. I mean, that's why I basically stopped playing my lizards, because I was looking at this kind of a season and I was like, pass thing.
Yeah, the peasants are so weird. I play peasants or Bretonians in 1 minute, and the noises are the stupidest things.
Yes, they're really wonderful.
Horn Stars, my Nemo, Chaos. That's a lot of skills, man. Looking at Chaos is just so hard for me, because it's like you have like 20 million beastmen and they're all built differently because they're so flexible. It's just so hard to like actually evaluate them because it's not positionals, it's Chaos Warriors and beastmen. Okay, let's start with the Chaos Warriors. Young Sheldon is MNG'd, but he's standard block guard claw, mighty blow. And then the other 3 are basically the same, although one of them has gone more supporty with guard first and no mighty blow, and has also picked up tentacles. I like that, having one like pillory one.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Good to get in the way of some things.
Also a great name.
Lance Thruster is also a great name, and he's got a level pending. He's niggled. If it's just normals, I mean, I feel like you probably just take stand firm there because you've got a bunch of tackle lying around. The only argument for
tackle, debatably.
The only argument for tackle is that you get Claw Mighty Blow hits now with him, but you have enough tackle on, or you only have 1 tackle on Claw Mighty Blow. If you're going up against elves and you really want removals, tackle is probably okay, but I think stand firm is better.
You have 2 Claw Mighty Blow tackles. You don't need 3. I don't think.
Oh no, yeah, I would take stand firm.
Elves usually don't put 3 dodge on the line. Like,
no.
And if they do, you just hit it with like something else and you get over it.
Yeah, no, I think you take stand firm for that if it's just standard.
Yep. So it's only got 4 guard, or 5 guard, I guess, because Young Sheldon is out. But is he just MNG'd? Yes, he is. He's fine. So good amount of guard, or decent amount of guard. Scootin' Tootin' is a bit weird. He's a strength up guard niggle frenzy piece.
This is a little weird.
Rocky Balboner is great. He can
surf strength 4 guys really easily with horns and strength 4.
He can. Rocky Balboner is a ball carrier that dodges on Agi 5 and also has tackle for. He's all kind of like a pseudo sacker as well, but he does also have several wrestle beastmen.
Yeah, it looks like he was originally going to be a sacker with Agi block tackle. Like, he already had a ball carrier, and then his ball carrier died, and he's like, well, better get sure hands.
Yeah, but if you're going to make a sacker, you want wrestle, not block. But
I mean, that's true. Yeah, that is interesting. He's got 2 killer beastmen. He's got the frenzy one. He's got a sacker, like you said, with wrestle, tackle, and movement. And some other like idiots for the line with wrestle and fend.
Yep, just annoying pieces.
Will Pounder is on his way to being a new ball carrier with extra arms and movement. That's kind of weird. Or he's like a 2-turn threat, I guess, because extra arms matters for catch as well. So he's like the 2-turning beastman.
Receiver, I guess so.
And it makes him Agi 4 when he's trying to catch for a receiver, and he's also, if it's raining, he he's another option to pick up the ball other than just the sure hands guy. But yeah, it's a very niche piece, which is probably why he's at the bottom there. Probably
he's
doesn't
going to take pass block
often.
and be the intercept threat because extra arm also
intercepts. Oh, I guess it's basically just agi without actually being agi. It's agi for everything but dodge.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and then we have Sir Kodiak,
but that's pretty niche. I actually do have to bow out basically now, so I'll just leave you on Sir Kodiak, and I've already sent you the information, so ciao folks, I'm gonna go get punched by Chorfs.
Yeah, Shadorra's gonna go play his game. So sorry for the rest of you that don't get his insights as well, but sometimes these things happen.
They're grumpy and filled with sass.
I mean, right. I wonder if Kodiak, Moneybags, Queen Elizabeth, Louis Swano, Holes... Holes is definitely here. I think Holes is the only one who's here that isn't, and we've kind of talked
I like Holes' team. We've already talked about it when we did the prediction, so...
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay, so I'm going to look at Sir Kodiak. It's a Nurgle team. There's the Ex-Wife. We've seen the Ex-Wife before. Metals, Ex-Beast. It's a block guard, stand firm, plus movement beast. People argue against the plus movement. I kind of like it. I have one on my beast. Just the number of situations where it's come in handy has been totally worth the cost to me. It's like, oh hey, I don't have to roll that GFI to suddenly get my beast on a bunch of dudes, and it can save you games. Nurgle Warriors doing standard Nurgle Warrior things. Block guard, Mighty Blow, Claw Tackle. And we've got a Killer Pestigore, the standard Killer Pestigore, and the standard ball carrying Pestigore, who has picked up Agi and 2 heads. So he can dodge on a Agi 5, which is super useful. Nurgle often end up in this weird position where you grind your way up the pitch, and then suddenly the elves are in the way still, and you have to make that 1 or 2 dodges to be able to score, and making them 2+ dodges, even if there are tackle zones, is pretty incredible for those situations where it matters. And when he's already agi and has block, sure hands, and kickoff return, and you roll normals, there's nothing else to take really. It's 2 heads, fend, or extra arms, and I think 2 heads is the most useful one of those. Then there's a Wrestle Pestigore who's got a level pending. I think he messaged me about this actually. So actually, let me first of all, I'm gonna change the screen here so that we don't have the blank camera space. It's gonna make it make a little bit more sense. And then I think he messaged me about this. Right, it's a 5x5, so that's doubles. That is a wrestle. It's a wrestle piece that could either take movement or doubles. That's difficult. I mean, leap would be hilarious because he is wrestle, but you really don't want leap unless you... Because if you take leap, you're committing to taking very long legs with your next level, basically, to even make it remotely reliable. If you had agi, I would probably say leap, because then you can leap in and do nonsense. But even if you take leap, it's probably better to just do 2 heads, and then if you get agi later, you can just cage dive rather than leap. It's going to be hard for leap to be better when 2 heads is an option. You could take leap, agi, and very long legs, but that's basically the same as just taking agi and 2 heads, and it's 1 less skill. The option, I think, it comes down between movement and dodge. Movement, I think, is probably what I would do here, because the movement is always going to help as a safety piece. Dodge is going to be useful in weird scenarios where he gets marked up and you want to dodge out. And it could save you a reroll for the sack attempt, but I think having the movement to save GFIs and make him just a safety threat for the entire backfield is probably more valuable. I think I would take movement, but it's pretty close between movement and dodge, but I think movement is what I would do. Moneybags and the Necro. 2 wolves, both pretty fair wolves. There's no piling on Mighty Blow anywhere, but one is Agi Leap, which is really funny, and we talked about that. I really want to... The Werewolf Leap animation is that weird cross between okay and bad. It's that silly, just leap animation, but it actually kind of looks okay on wolves because they're 4 legs. And we've seen it, and it's really funny, and I like it. Leap into frenzying stuff with sidestep. 2 flesh golems, one just has block, but that's good because they need it, and the other one is block guard, Mighty Blow, which is all the things he wants. Two whites. One is a, well, they're both sort of hybrids. One is more blitzery with Juggernaut, Mighty Blow, and Piling On tackle, but he also has guard to be an assist if he needs it. The other one was attempted to be a guard piece first, so he went guard. And then he also took Mighty Blow and tackle to be a secondary blitz threat, and then he's picked up Stand Firm. So they're both a little bit hybridy, but they do have their own roles. The ball carrying ghoul is strength and agi, which is incredible. No sure hands, which is a little annoying, but there isn't a whole lot of strip ball lying around, so it may not be entirely relevant. And the movement 6 is annoying, but strength 4, agi 4, you do not give that up. That is an incredible stat line for a ball carrier. He's gonna get sure hands, and then he's gonna be so broken. Oh, so broken. And then you can take kickoff return to make up for that movement 6 a little bit and keep him around forever. Another just block ghoul. I'm surprised that isn't just wrestle to be like a safety ghoul, but maybe he's trying to build a replacement ball carrier in case anything happens to the Balthamel, because he is movement 6. And there's some zombies. One's grabbed guard, one's grabbed dirty player. There's a block lying around. Excellent. That's what you want for zombies. Queen Elizabeth, whose team we did look at briefly, but I will mention it again. There's a Mighty Blow Witch Elf and a Mighty Blow Blitzer, which is great against other elf teams. You know what else is great against other elf teams and bash teams for that matter is 3+ movement pieces. One of them is double plus movement. Movement 9 sidestep makes one turning as dark elves like pretty easy, especially since Frenzy exists. If you really want it, you can like get all the pushes you need with like one player. So even if they do like that one player on every corner of the line thing, try to prevent you from getting a bunch of players together to do one turns, it doesn't matter with Frenzy and movement 9. And then the other blitzers are Blodge Step or Blodge Tackle with also plus movement to get whatever they want. Ball Sacker with Leap, Wrestle, Tackle. And 3 guard pieces. One of them is MNG'd for this, but like this is a really good Dark Elf team. It's both super good against other elves because of the guard movement and Mighty Blow, and then incredibly good against bash teams because of all the Blodge Step and movement. The more killy, slow bash teams are going to have such a hard time dealing with the movement 8, movement 9. And the more control-y oriented bash teams are going to have quite a bit of difficulty dealing with all the Blodge Steps. So it's kind of gross. Yeah. Luis Juano, another Nurgle team. He's got 2 Pillar Nurgle Warriors, which is super cool, with both Blodge Guard. They're going to get Stand Firm next, and then be annoying as hell. Blodge Firm on a foul appearance player is less than 50% with a 2-die to move them, which is pretty good odds, especially when you have 2 of them. And they're both pretty close to leveling. And the other ones are just straight up going the killer route with Mighty Blow, Claw, Block in that order, which I like to do on at least one Nurgle Warrior to try to get that killer rolling really fast. And then he's even gone for the tackle on them to ensure that those are getting removals, or at least try to help out getting removals rather than like the Stand Firm, which is another, or Guard, which are good options there. A lot of people would take Guard instead of that tackle, but he has distinct jobs for his Nurgle Warriors, and he is making them do those jobs. We have a Killer Pestigore with Mighty Blow, Tackle, Claw, Piling On. He will... 1 more level to go. It'll either be Juggernaut or Pro. Probably Juggernaut. Then there's another one coming up, Mighty Blow Block. He is nickeled, unfortunately. So he's probably not trying to level him too hard, but it's nice to have the extra Mighty Blow player around. And when he ever dies, he'll just replace him. He's the flex spot anyway, because we've got the he just used this guy for most of his blitzing, and this is a little extra piece. Because we got this guy as the ball carrier, Lodge, and Sure Hands. Pray for Agi. If not, take the fake Agi skills. And then we've got a wrestler, so he's going to get tackle and strip ball and all that kind of good stuff. Beast of Nurgle, Sloth de Gunk, which is kind of a fun name. Guard, Stand Firm. Break Tackle is the next option for him, but you pray for block. 1 Dirty Player Rotter. This is the one thing that is going to be super annoying for Luis Juano, is that he has no ablative rotters. So he has 10 players, so he gets 1 rookie rotter, which means he only has 2, and one of them is the dirty player. So he's got to field his Nurgle Warriors and Beast of Nurgle on the line, basically, if he wants to actually utilize that dirty player. And on defense, he definitely has to put one. Well, he definitely has to put somebody on the line, because he'll only have two. Probably the Beast, but like that's kind of scary, is just like exposing your Beast, especially against other Bash teams who are gonna just knock him down and foul him. Elves, it's probably not too bad, but against a lot of other teams, it's pretty terrifying. And holes, we've talked about a little bit. Shadorra has expressed his opinion, but I'll talk about it again. Black Orcs are great. They're all roughly similar in SPP, at least in terms of like levels. Dainty Dan and Rowdy Rob have pushed themselves a little bit ahead of Big Boy Bobby and Quasi Kyle. But that's fine, because they already have the block guard, and anything from this point is just gravy or icing on the cake. Gravy on the cake? Ugh. Because they want to get block together, and they've done that. They want to get guard roughly together, and they've done that. Stand Firm, and then Mighty Blow are options. Is icing just cake gravy? 4 blitzers. We've got the Blitzing Blitzer with Piling On, Mighty Blow, Tackle, Juggernaut, and Movement. He's probably going to get Pro as a final skill there, just to try to get some more greed rerolls or what have you. Anything serious, use a real reroll on, like a double skull, but if you get like double pushes or something, you can Pro it to see if you can turn that into a knockdown and a removal. Ditzy David is the support blitzer. He's the fast, agile, mobile for Orcs player to get guard where you need it, and then he's also Lodge Firm and Strength 4, so he's a faster Black Orc. Very, very handy piece to have. Bouncy Ben is both a, we don't have a thrower, do we? Oh, we do. Bouncy Ben is both an emergency receiving target, being Agi 4. You can, if you really need to, you can hurl the ball to him with the thrower after putting him in scoring range. He can probably dodge his way to scoring range. He's also capable of dodging to put that guard in places that is really needed. Just guard spam Orcs, super difficult to deal with. And then another blitzer who's block Mighty Blow. Wouldn't be surprised to see like a Frenzy there. Couple linemen. A guard, strength, block, tackle, fend lineman is not going to be an LOS lineman, because that's just too good to waste. It is another Black Orc, right? We've got 6 strength 4 players on this team, all with block guard. Super annoying for so many teams to deal with. Bash teams, unless they're super heavy claw and get lucky removals, are going to have a hard time with all this guard. Agi teams are going to have a hard time getting through it sometimes. This is a really good Orc team. There's a dirty player lineman. He's going to go on the line on defense. On offense, you have a dirty player, but you're only going to field like 2 linemen on offense. So he's one of them. And then, you know, line Orcs and a thrower. He's got a level pending. He's probably block unless it's Agi, or if it's doubles, maybe dodge. David is going to be Frenzy next. Yeah, he's also a good Frenzy piece. With Strength and Stand Firm. He's a really good Frenzy target as well. Frenzy on this team somewhere would be really nice to have, and him with Stand Firm and Strength already would be pretty incredible. Doubles on thrower. Dodge and Strong Arm. Both good. Depends on if you actually want to throw the ball or not. If you actually want to throw the ball, Strong Arm. But, like, building a thrower to be a thrower and rely on his throwing game is weird, because you just don't have the movement to really get far up the field and actually throw far. A lot of the time you're just going to be doing short passes, or like to a blitzer for like a 2-turn, or I've turned him over, and even then you're not going to field him on defense. Like on offense, most of the time it's going to be either 2-turn attempts, or he's elf screened a little bit too good, so I need to get further up the field and get myself a scoring threat. Like, I think the situations in which Strong Arm are going to be useful are probably fewer than the ones that Dodge is going to be useful. And Dodge, not for the actual dodging, but for the, like, when you get blitzed or somebody leaps into your cage or whatever. Because you have so much guard, it's going to be always uphill. And then going always uphill against Blodge, Sure Hands, is really rough for teams like Skaven and Wood Elves. So I feel like I would go Dodge, but, you know, I mean, your team, if you feel like you're going to rely on some throwing, or you want to just have some fun, because, you know, passing is fun, especially on Orcs, then go for the Strong Arm. It is an option. It's certainly an option. It's just not a reliable option. And then the Chaos Dwarfs, Bernie Buffin. They're pretty reasonable Chaos Dwarfs. It's just their next game is rough because they're missing two Chorf blockers and one of them being guard, which means they only have one. Like, oh no, my Chorf team rolled strength and claw, so I haven't managed to get guard yet. But that's actually pretty relevant because he's only gonna have one guard going into his game against Nurgle. Normally, it's pretty good because he's got strength 4 claw piling on mighty blow claw, and then 2 guard. One of them is on movement 3, so he's probably gonna want to get stand firm if you can't afford to just recycle him. Although this guy is niggled, so you probably recycle him first. And then there's another guard here. It's just the next game is rough. It's kind of weird, right? Like you need some guard to do well with this team, but you've rolled claw, so you took it instead of guard. Like, it's so good for later, but right now it's going to make your next game or two a little bit more difficult when you don't have the guard. Waluigi version 2 is a blitzing bull centaur with frenzy, break tackle, mighty blow, tackle, block. And then a defensive bull centaur, the postman, with dodge, diving tackle, and block is really funny. He is sprint sure feet, so you know he's still movement 6 when he's trying to stand up, which is pretty good for like a strength 4 guy. And then we don't have a real ball carrier, which is something that I'd like to see. Like sure hands on somebody would be good. Although it wasn't me ref with guard, dodge, and block. He is an extra guard piece, but he's out for the next game, and it's kind of annoying to carry the ball in your guard. But I think I'd like to see a sure hands on a different hobgoblin somewhere. And then we have Rebel Cheese Thieves, Jericho Peppers. This team got crunched last game. So they're going into their... Oh, this is after... They've already played a game this week, too. So that's after this week. So next game, they're out 2 gutter runners, which is annoying because you only have 2, meaning you have to field the natural 1-turner. So he's a massive target. But he also has to do stuff because the other gutter runner is just dodge. He's a rookie. So your next game is going to be pretty hard. But this natural 1-turner is a natural 1-turner. Like, rats with a natural 1-turner, it doesn't matter if the rest of your team is linemen, you can still win. Especially when you have a good ball hawk of a gutter runner here with Dauntless. Leap, strip ball, wrestle. He'd also like tackle and then pray for doubles or plus agi maybe to get 2 heads. Or with the leap, plus agi would be better for the leap. And if he's going to go with the leap, you could always go with very long legs so that he's basically... if you get a double but not a if you get a double but not a plus agi, although you can't do that because the plus agi is what, an 11? Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Ignore me, I'm becoming tired. Rookie gutter runner is sad. 2 storm vermin, both mighty blow. One is mighty blow piling on, so he's lost a gutter runner, which is sad. These are probably relatively new storm vermin as well, with only 1 skill. Oh no, he's got 13 matches. He just hasn't managed to level him, which is kind of sad. I mean, if a lot of your SVP for touchdowns is going to Paneer, that kind of makes sense. It's going to be difficult to get touchdowns on him when you're going to be in a pretty desperate situation a lot of the time with the lack of players. The good news is you're going to get Glart, you're going to get Skitter, you're going to get a Wizard like almost every game. Skaven are the one team that... Skaven and Wood Elves are the 2 teams that can like really take advantage of inducements and are happy to get a boatload of inducements. Almost any other team would probably rather be like closer in team value. At least, no, not any more farther away than a Wizard. Parmigiano is, you know, he's got Mighty Blow piling on, so he's going to level a bit faster, but he'd really like Claw. There's a Kick Line Rat and then nothing. I mean, this team is this gutter runner. I mean, really. This team is these 2 gutter runners, but for the next game, this team is this gutter runner. But man, Paneer is incredible with Leap. Natural 1-turner with a 3+ leap to get over any screen that is made. How do you stop that? You don't. The only way you stop that really is with Nurgle and like Disturbing Presence all across the line, just to try to make his catch a 3+ instead of a 2+, and pray he doesn't have any rerolls. Like, that's super frustrating. Like, as long as this rat exists, this team is going to be able to win games. And he's not niggled or anything, so he's got a hopefully a long future, because I don't have to play it. Other people do. Oh boy. But that's going to be me. That's going to be me and Shadorra. thanks for hanging out, everybody. I really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed these recaps. We'll be back next Thursday. The points are starting to accrue. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. I've been Steakmittens, and I will see you next time.